Anna and I have been using Canon R6 Mark III from the release date. We used it for vlogging, travel, interviews, wildlife, you name it. I made a number of videos about this camera, you can find them here, but one thing I never talked about in a bit more detail are video codecs. And that's something that a lot of people find confusing. And to be honest, we even found it a little bit confusing when we first started using this camera. Because even if you are experienced with video, Canon's naming convention may be a bit weird, or the way you select different options may not always seem very intuitive. So in this video, I will cover various Canon codecs. We'll go through the menu, see what you can choose and how choosing specific options may impact what else you can select. This video is not aimed at explaining every single tiny detail of video codecs, because then it would be hours long. There are a ton of materials available online if you want to read up more about the difference between H.264 and H.265 or how different compression methods work. I will briefly touch upon all of them here, but if you want to dig into more detail, yeah, there's plenty of materials available online. This is simply just beyond the scope of this video. The other thing that's really important to understand is that I will talk about video codecs we choose for our needs and codecs that match our preferences, but this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the best possible option for you. It's a bit like asking, well, what car should I buy? I don't know. I mean, do you want to drive fast in a sports car? Do you want an off-roading vehicle? Do you need a big car for family, dogs, cats, and all your luggage and so on? Do you need a pickup truck for all your gear? You know, there are just so many different scenarios that there is simply no one specific answer. The only thing I can recommend is that you look at the options I will talk about here. You either use them as a starting point, or maybe you choose slightly different options and use that as your starting point and try those settings in a few particularly challenging scenarios you know you may come across. I don't know, maybe some really high contrast scenes, maybe some particularly challenging lighting and so on, depends what type of work you do. And then you can see how this codec handles this shooting scenario, and then more importantly, how then it behaves when you start editing it, because that's another huge part of the process. What you do with your footage afterwards. Do you color grade it? How you color grade it? To what degree you want to push it? What kind of look you want to achieve? That part is especially hard to predict when suggesting which codec is best, right? Because, well, we all have different needs and preferences. So just bear that in mind when you watch this video. But let's now jump into the menus. All right, so where do you start with selecting your codec? Well, you'll be jumping between these three options: movie recording size, movie recording format, and open gate. And depending what you choose, some of the options may be grayed out. So let's start here with movie recording format. Here you have essentially three main things and then a couple of other things to consider. So first of all, there's a difference between RAW, XF-HEVC, and then XF-AVC. RAW is just raw data from the sensor, nice and simple. Maximum amount of data, huge file sizes. XF-HEVC is basically another name for H.265, or Canon's name for H.265. It will produce the smallest file sizes. However, it will give you fewest options when choosing different compression methods, and also it's really tough on your computer to edit. Even on a really fast machine, it will be stuttering. So it's great as a delivery codec. It's not great for editing, especially for color grading. XF-AVC is H.264. Bigger file sizes, not as big as RAW, although with some settings they can be pretty huge, but they are much easier to edit than H.265. So this is the first decision you need to make. Whether you want the maximum amount of data with RAW, whether you want something that's easier to edit. If you're doing a lot of color grading, I would strongly recommend going for those bottom options. But if you're just shooting and pretty much just delivering with minimal amount of editing, grading, effects, then one of those options may be better. Then, what all those additional letters and numbers mean? So YCC422 or YCC420 refers to how color is compressed. Long story short, 444 would give you the maximum amount of color data. 422 is the next best option. 420 is maximum amount of color compression. So if you're planning to do color grading, 422 is better than 420. 10-bit versus 8-bit is a difference between how much sampling or color sampling is done. So again, how much data you have to work with. So if you're planning to do color grading, then this option, AVC, YCC, 422, 10-bit is your best bet. This one will save you some space, but it won't give you as much flexibility when it comes to color grading. So for me, this is the option I go for. H.264, 422, 10-bit, because I know I will be doing a lot of color grading. So with this option selected, as you can see, I cannot choose OpenGate. That's one of the limitations. It's fine. When I need to use OpenGate, I select slightly different settings. I will come back to that in a minute. But let's jump to movie recording size. So here you have 3 tabs at the top, and then at the bottom there will be a number of options. So first of all is the resolution. First 2 are 4K-D, which are digital cinema resolutions. So you can see here the number at the top is 4096. The next 2 are 4K-U, which are also 4K resolutions, but these are the Ultra HD, so 3840. So these are TV 4K resolutions. The difference is quite subtle. You may have very strong preference here, or the client may have a preference, but these are basically 2 different flavors of 4K. And then fine or not fine, I suppose, is just slightly different amount of detail, or I don't think it changes compression much, but well, long story short, I go for 4K-U fine. This is my preferred setting here. Of course, if you want, you also have 2K and Full HD. Again, depending on some other settings, those may or may not be available, but if you're using this camera, most likely you'll be going for one of the 4K options. Then the next tab are our frame rate settings. Those may be slightly different depending whether your camera is set to NTSC or PAL. Mine is set to NTSC, so my options are 23.98 frames, 29.97, 59.94. So basically 24, 30 and 60 frames per second. As you can see, other options are grayed out because of some of the other settings. My default is 23.98. Unless, of course, I'm planning to shoot slow-mo or something like that, then I may choose this option. And then finally, in the third tab, we have different compression methods. So these are different types of intra-frame compressions, and then LGOP stands for long group of pictures. So this is the most compressed version, and then these are less compressed. You can see here how it will impact file sizes, how quickly those change depending on the option selected. For me, the best balance between the file size and image quality or flexibility in editing is Intra Frame Light, but you may want to choose something different here. However, look at the options available here and then see what happens if we go back to recording format and we go to our H.265 codec. If I now go back here, the first tab remains the same. That's fine. The second tab actually has now 24 frames per second, which previously wasn't available. It doesn't really make much of a difference. But here in compression methods, there is only one option, and that's long group of pictures. So this is one of the reasons I don't use H.265, partially because it's much harder to edit. It requires much more processing power, but also it gives me far fewer options when it comes to compression. However, if you want to shoot OpenGate, as you can see now, OpenGate is actually enabled. If I'm choosing H.264 in this menu here, I cannot shoot OpenGate. So what's my solution, or what are my preferred settings here? Well, option number 1 is, let's switch this off, and then here, this is my default choice of settings, right? So H.264, 422, 10-bit, 4K, this should be 4K-U fine, 24 frames per second or thereabouts, and Intra frame light. If I want maximum possible quality, or if I want to shoot open gate, I usually just go to RAW and then select open gate, and here I stick it to any 4 frames per second and I choose raw light. Look how much raw and raw light change file sizes, right? So this is my preferred option number 2. If you want to shoot 7K raw at 60 frames per second, you have to select raw light like I just did, and you have to switch off open gate. So now if I go back to this menu, here I can actually select 60 frames per second, which was previously disabled. And I still have the same horizontal resolution, but I lose vertical resolution because it's no longer open gate. So that's something worth knowing if you want to shoot 7K 60p. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. We talk here a lot about travel and not necessarily always about gear, but gear always is a big part of it and will remain a big part of this channel, so I'm sure you'll find a lot of other helpful content. One thing that's worth mentioning is that I talked earlier about the difference between H.264 and H.265. I'm actually currently editing a video that was a bit of an experiment. I shot it on Fuji X100VI, so certainly not your typical video camera. And that was all shot in H.265, and I find this video really easy, or this footage really easy to edit. But here is an important thing. Files are really small. They have baked-in color profile. These are not log files. I just used one of the Fuji film simulations. So H.265 can work really, really well, but it just depends how you want to use it. I find that if I want to shoot in log, and if I want to color grade footage, if I want to heavily edit it, it's just too hard on my computer, even though I have M4 Max MacBook Pro. However, if I choose my camera settings to pretty much just produce the final image, I have the color and everything baked in, then H.265 is a perfectly viable option. So it may be really good for things like maybe recording really, really long interviews or events and stuff like that, where there may not necessarily be a huge amount of color grading in post, but you know you will have to record a ton of footage and it has to be manageable, especially, again, given current storage prices. So that's just one last thing I wanted to mention. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the future. Bye.